Marie, welcome back to my channel. If you're a new babe, hit the subscribe button because you're gonna want to stay. If you're returning, hey besties, it's so good to see you again. You guys, today we are getting into a Daniel fast meal prep that is gonna, one, help you stay nourished during this fast, but two, help you to stay intentional during this fasting season. Whether you're still on the fast, you're just getting started, or you've been on the fast and you fell off and you're trying to get back up again, remember, give yourself some grace because God honors a willing heart. Daniel 1:12 says, "Please test your servants for 10 days. Give us nothing but vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then compare our appearance with that of the young men who eat the royal food, and treat your servants in accordance with what you see." And although in this video I'm not just making vegetables and just drinking water, there are other things that you can eat while on this fast. I will have some Daniel fast links down below for those of you guys who are wanting to do a little bit more research. But I just wanted to remind and encourage you guys that obedience does not always have to be perfect. It just needs to be sincere. This fast is not about restriction, it's about alignment. So with that, go ahead and prep with purpose, invite God into the process, and keep moving forward together. I have a few recipes to share with you in this meal prep video. I will also link my other Daniel fast meal preps at the end of this video, so if you guys are looking for some more recipes, I have a ton. And with that, let's go ahead and jump on into this meal prep. We're kicking off this meal prep with some overnight oats, and if you don't know this about me, you're about to learn. I don't like unsweetened oats, and on this Daniel fast, finding a sweetener that is compliant has been kind of challenging, but I think I cracked the code. So I'm actually going to go ahead and mash up one banana until it looks kind of runny and not the most appealing, but I promise it works really well. And then I'm also going to use some date paste. So a lot of people have shared that they don't like to use date syrup on the Daniel fast. So my alternative to that is taking some dates and soaking them in about a half a cup of warm water. And then I'm going to blend the dates with a little bit of that liquid. I think I added about maybe a quarter of a cup of the liquid, and then blend the dates and keep the pulp so that you're keeping the integrity of the fruit. And this is what it looks like. Again, not the most appealing, but I promise it tastes great. So each jar is gonna get about a half a cup of oats and then as much cinnamon as your heart desires. Y'all know that I season with love over here, especially seasonings that don't have salt in them. I'm gonna follow up with a heaping tablespoon of the date syrup, followed by 2 spoonfuls of the banana. Just evenly divide the banana up between the 3. And then I'm using 3 cups of oat. Whoa, I'm using 1 cup of oat milk. Oh my goodness. But you can use about 3/4 of a cup to 1 cup, just depending on how runny you like your oats. I like to add a little bit more milk because I heat mine up in the morning and the oats need the extra liquid to soak up and get soft. Go ahead and give them a really good mix. Make sure that they're well incorporated. I also forgot to mention that I put a pinch of salt in there too. And I don't know where the footage is either, but I did put it in there and it does make a difference. Pop the lid on and they're good to sit in your fridge for up to 5 days. In addition to my oats, I've also been prioritizing getting lots of fresh fruits in, and so I've been making different types of fruit cups each week. Right now my current obsession is pineapple, green grapes, strawberries, and some blueberries. I've just been having so much fun making these little jars. I just think they're so beautiful and colorful and they taste great too, so I like to keep these on hand as well, just as an extra little snack. Now, this stuff is totally optional, but one thing about it and 2 things for certain, I'm not eating cold oatmeal. It just is something very off-putting about it to me. So I like to heat mine up on the stove. Well, technically every day before work, I just pop it in the microwave, but I had a little off day today and I was able to put it on the stove so you guys can see it. So I just boiled the oats until it got nice and thick and creamy. And then I'm gonna go ahead and transfer it into a bowl because you know this is my favorite part, assembly. And I'm gonna top with my favorite fruits. Right now, my current rotation is strawberries, blackberries, and blueberries, but feel free to customize the fruits and toppings that you like. I also like to add a little tablespoon of some 100% natural peanut butter. This is just peanuts ground up with a little bit of salt. That is it. No sugars, no nothing. And this is how I've been enjoying my breakfast. Next up, we are making one of my favorite snacks. This has literally been one of my go-tos. We're making a roasted red pepper hummus, and honestly, hummus is so easy to make. I won't be buying the pre-made stuff from the store ever again. All you need are a few simple ingredients. So to start, we're gonna go ahead and roast our roasted red peppers, hence roasted red pepper hummus. I'm going to de-seed it and remove all the ribs and seeds from the inside. Wash the peppers and place them on a parchment-lined baking sheet. Next, you're gonna need 2 cloves of garlic. I don't know how much garlic I'm gonna include in this, but I literally burned it because I have a tendency to burn things. I burned 4 cloves of garlic and I had to redo this off camera. You literally only need 2 cloves of garlic, and instead of putting it directly on the baking sheet exposed with the peppers, you're gonna want to wrap it in some aluminum foil with a drizzle of olive oil and a pinch of salt, and then wrap that and put that on the baking tray with the peppers and roast it at 450 degrees for about 25 minutes. So while the veggies are roasting in the oven, I'm gonna go ahead and get my chickpeas rinsed and drained. And it's really not hard. Just open the can, rinse them and drain them. Literally nothing fancy here, y'all. Now it's time to just put everything in the blender to make this hummus. So I'm going to add the chickpeas into the blender. I also am adding the peeled roasted red peppers. You just have to peel the skin back. You do not want the skin in it. So please make sure that you allow them to cool for a few moments before peeling off the skin. It's pretty easy. It's already pretty much separated. Then you're gonna add in your tahini, lemon juice, your garlic cloves, and your seasonings of choice. Again, all of my recipes are down below in the description box. Make sure that you taste for seasonings after you blend it, but this was like the perfect amount of seasonings for me. And then also just a drizzle. I think I used about 2 tablespoons of some good olive oil, and then I went and I blended it together, and I noticed mine was a little bit thick. So off camera, I added about 1.5 tablespoons of some warm water, and that gave me the perfect consistency. As you can see here, it's still a little on the like wet side. It's like less firm than the hummus that you find in the store, but it will solidify and get a little bit like drier, not crunchy dry, but like, you know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about, okay? Because I'm about to butcher this. But once you let it sit in the fridge, it will firm up. Next, we are making a chickpea and avocado salad. This is literally so good. I have made it 3 times, okay? All you need is a cucumber that you're going to basically give like a small to medium dice. You're also going to need some finely chopped red onion and then some minced jalapeno. So the most work that you're gonna do in this whole thing is just the chopping. It is a little tedious, but I promise it's worth it. You're also gonna add some carrots. I only had shredded carrots on hand, which is actually fine. I just chopped them a little bit more fine. I don't know how to say that. I teach math. It's fine. That's the most of the chopping. Then you're gonna add some rinsed and drained chickpeas, all of your fresh produce into a mixing bowl, and then you're going to also add some fresh chopped parsley and set it aside. Now we're gonna make our own dressing. You need some limes, the zest and juice of a lime, some garlic, some seasonings. Of course, you're gonna need some of that date paste again, because I need something to offset the acidity of the limes, and then a little bit of olive oil. Give it a good shake and you have the perfect salad dressing. Now let's talk about assembly. I do not suggest that you guys pour the salad dressing onto the salad immediately and then put it in the fridge, because it is going to get less crunchy. Not mushy, but just less crunchy as it sits. So I would just keep the salad stuff separate from the dressing, and add it when you're ready. Also the same thing with the avocados. I only add the avocados when I'm having a serving of it, because you don't want the avocados to get mushy and brown. That's just not aesthetically pleasing or really good, you know, tasting. So keep the avocados and the salad dressing separate until you're ready to actually eat it and serve. You can serve it by itself, you could serve it on a salad, but I like to serve mine with my little oat chips. And if you guys are looking for that recipe, it's in another one of my Daniel Fast videos, which I will tag at the end of this video. This recipe was so good last year that I had to run it back, but we're remixing it with another fruit. I am making some raspberry crumble bars. Last year I did blueberry and they were fire. I think I prefer the blueberry over the raspberry, but they were still very good. So we're gonna start with our raspberry filling. All you need are some fresh raspberries, a little bit of water, some date paste, and then you're gonna simmer that on the stove until it gets nice and thick. Towards the end of the cooking process, you are going to skim some of that foam off of the top because you don't want that, and we're gonna finish with a little bit of lemon juice, which just adds a nice little touch of brightness to the taste. I will say that these raspberries were very, very tart, so I mean, you don't have to use a lemon, but I really liked it. You're gonna go ahead and simmer this for about 20 to 25 minutes until it has cooked down and thickened. If you see, I'm pushing my spatula across the pan and it's not immediately flooding back in the pathway, that's how you know it's good to go. Just allow it to sit and cool until you're ready to go ahead and fill the bars. To make the base, you just need some oats, some oat flour, a little bit of peanut butter, the date paste again. I don't know if I said peanut butter, but you also need some salt and some cinnamon. You need all of that, and you're just going to give that a really good mix. Again, all of my recipes and measurements will be down below in the description box, so be sure to check them out. This is going to take a little bit of time. I was actually getting tired and winded trying to mix this all up together, but I'm going to show you a little texture shot of what the dough should look like. Very crumbly, very soft, but still very much a crumbly dough. Then in your pan of choice, I am using a loaf pan. I love this thing, it's so cute. I'm gonna go ahead and add about 3/4 of that dough mixture. I'm gonna pack it in with my hands. Also, I did brush it with a little bit of the excess coconut oil that I had, in case you were wondering what I used to grease the bottom, just some coconut oil. But once I pack in the dough, I'm gonna follow up with the cooled raspberry mixture, and as you can see, it has thickened up quite a bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and spread that into an even layer, and then we're going to crumble the rest of the dough mixture on top. Press it in with your hands or a spatula, and then refrigerate overnight for the bars to set. The next day and it's time to get to cutting. I probably should have taken them out a little bit earlier just for the dough to soften a little bit, but they're still perfect. I will say that the raspberry filling is still rather soft, but I think that's just the nature of the fruit, but still so good. I love the contrast between the creamy oat peanut butter dough with the tangy jam. It just gives kind of like an adult peanut butter and jelly, and I love it. And for our last recipe, I'm going to be making some Marry Me white beans. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the oil from my sun-dried tomatoes, and I'm going to saute some garlic and onion in that for about 2 to 3 minutes, or until the vegetables are translucent and fragrant. Then I'm going to go in and add some sun-dried tomatoes and a little bit of tomato paste, and I'm going to cook this for about 2 to 3 minutes. I don't know, I just feel like if you don't cook the tomato paste, it just gives raw. I don't know, it just tastes raw to me. So I like to cook that down. Then I'm going to deglaze the pan with some coconut milk and then give it a really good mix to incorporate everything in. It's going to take a few moments fully for the tomato paste to incorporate, but let it simmer for a few minutes. It'll come together on its own. Now I'm gonna add my rinsed and drained white beans, and I'm gonna season with basic seasoning, some salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and some red chili flakes. I like mine spicy, so I added a lot of red chili flakes, but again, customized to your own palate. And we're gonna go ahead and let this simmer for about 20 minutes on the stove so that it will thicken up a bit. Once the beans have had enough time to simmer and thicken up, add some spinach. You can of course use some fresh spinach, but girl, we did not have that in the fridge. So I'm using some frozen spinach, which works just as good. I'm gonna allow it to simmer down for another 10 minutes because it did give off a little bit more liquid than I thought it would. And then right before you're ready to serve it, you're gonna just squeeze just a tiny bit of fresh lemon juice on top to cut through the richness of that coconut milk. And y'all, these were the best beans, okay? Like these, lost for words. So good. Now to assemble them, you can have the beans just on their own. They're so good just by themselves, but I served mine over a bed of rice, and y'all, marry me white beans for the win. you guys, so that is going to conclude this week's meal prep. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I'm praying for you guys and standing with you guys as you are currently fasting. If you are currently fasting, or if you're thinking about fasting, know that I am praying for you. I'm praying for your endurance, and I'm praying that the Lord is giving you the clarity and confirmation that you are seeking. Remember, obedience does not have to be perfect, just sincere. Check your heart, make time for him, and keep moving forward. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Also be sure to turn on your post notifications. That way you can be notified every time your girl drops a new video. And until next time, babes, I'll see you in my next.